Good morning, brothers and sisters. We warmly welcome in this Adyar atmosphere to celebrate this 100th South India Conference centenary. Really, we all are privileged to be in this hall, which has got a high magnetic waves. So let us together maintain those waves all during conference delegations, and as Brother Shikhar pointed out, we need to be precise and accurate within given time limit, and also we must keep our mobile vibrations in silent mood and keep your own vibrations in the high mood so that you can connect to the higher consciousness. So with these words, I once again say good morning, good Friday, and good wishes for the success of this 100th centenary of the South India Conference. Well, we will begin with the universal prayer. Before that, let us tune ourselves looking into our own breathing, and then I will say the universal prayer and you say after me. Be quiet, look into your in-breathing and out-breathing. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Let us meditate few seconds. Thank you. Before I invite our conference officer, Brother Shikhar Agniotri, to give his welcome address, let me tell few words about him. As you all know, Shikhar Agniotri is a resident of Adyar with his family Catalina and daughter Yuna. They are volunteers at Theosophical Society Adyar and assisting to the general manager as assistant general manager. Shikhar Agniotri is a well-known national lecturer as well as international speaker. As we all know, he is the youth. He joined the Theosophical Society in 2008, and that youth energy is completely focused towards the service of the humanity through Theosophical Society. He is also the founder member of Pragya Theosophical Society Lodge and Maitreya Theosophical Order of Service Group in Lucknow, that is Uttar Pradesh. Most of you know him as he is efficient convention officer during 2-3 conventions which were held at Adyar and at Varanasi. He is a high-tech person. Now I call him for his welcome address, Brother Shikhar.
Dear and respected chairperson of the session, Shindeji, our special guest, Sister Maria Atama, International Secretary, Brother N.C. Krishnaji, National Lecturer, sisters and brothers, before I give my welcome address, I would like to share the greetings that we have received for this South India Theosophical Conference from our International President, Brother Tim Boyd, and he says, "It is a remarkable event and a tribute to the work of TS India that this is the 100th annual South India Conference. 5 generations of members have come together to share the influence and their understanding with each other and with the world. The path to perfection is long, and we move along it one step at a time. May your time together be beneficial to you, to the sacred ground of Adyar, and to humanity, so desperately in need. Peace and blessings." Also, we received the greetings from our International Vice President, Dr. Deepa Padi, and she says, "I am delighted to know that members of the TS South India are celebrating the Centennial Conference scheduled to be held on 29 to 31st March 2024 on the theme, The Path to Perfection. The aim of Theosophical Society is to show the path to perfection by understanding the interconnectedness of all beings and things, self-transformation, and the oneness of all lives. This is what the mission of the TS states. As Gita says, Sarva Bhutashtam Atmanam Sarva Bhutanischat Atmani. One sees the self in everything and everything in one's self. The attainment of this state is perfection, the goal of Theosophy. My heartiest greetings and congratulations to all the participants and wish the centenary celebration a grand success." Also, we received greetings from Mr. Pradeep Gohil, the president of the Indian section, and he says, "I would like to congratulate you for organizing the 100th South India Conference on 29 to 31st March at Theosophical Society campus in Adyar. This is a major contribution from Mr. Mahapatra as Secretary, Propagation of the Indian Section, TS. On behalf of all the members of the Indian Section, I would like to send wishes for a successful event. A century of such conferences at Adyar is no mean achievement and stands as a testament to the commitment of the TS towards the spread of theosophical knowledge. May all the delegates of this conference discover the path to perfection as they meet together and discuss the theme of the conference." So, once again, sisters and brothers, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to be a part of this significant milestone in the journey of this wonderful gathering of TS members that we now know as South India Theosophical Conference. On behalf of the Indian section, on behalf of Brother Pradeep Gohil, the President of the Indian section, Brother Pradeep Kumar Mahapatra ji, Secretary Propagation and Joint Conference Officer, on my personal behalf, and last but not the least, on behalf of TS Adyar, who is hosting this wonderful gathering of not 5 or 6 or 7 federations, members from federations, but members from 10 federations of Indian section out of total 16. So that is more than 50% of the Indian section federations. The theme of this 100th anniversary of the South India Theosophical Conference, the path to perfection, in my view is very apt, because the number 100 means 10 times 10. And those of you who are interested in sports may have observed that very often the best player in the team is given the jersey or the T-shirt of number 10. So whether it is Messi or Maradona or Pele in the soccer field, or it is Sachin Tendulkar on the cricket field. So is it a superstition that they are wearing the number 10 jersey? being the best player of the team, being the perfect ambassador of the sports, or is there some reason behind it? The reason may lie in the fact that in Pythagorean number symbolism, number 10 was the symbol of perfection and completeness, from which everything comes out and in which everything merges, like space. So, what better theme than the path to perfection for the 100th anniversary of the conference? So, let us all be in harmony with an open mind, a pure heart, an eager intellect, and unveiled spiritual perception to make the maximum use of this conference and create an uplifting and inspiring atmosphere to make a channel to receive the benediction and blessings from those up above who are way ahead in evolution than us, because they are always looking for such channels, and these gatherings provide the channel like that. And we receive those ideas, those insights, we carry these insights with us, nourish them to come closer to the idea of perfection that we hold dear to us, and share that degree of perfection with our surroundings. With this, I welcome you all once again to this conference. Thank you.
A chief guest for the opening of this 100 something conference, our International Secretary, Maria. Let me tell about a few words to introduce you. As you know her, as International Secretary of the years, and she is resident of Adyar since 2014. She born in Finland in a Theosophical family, and therefore she knew about Theosophy since her childhood. But she joined Theos in 1978. By profession, Maria is a retired information and communication technology professional. She worked in that field for 39 years as a system manager. She also led quality manager in the field of banking system and insurance and software company. In Theosophical Society, she was leading the roundtable Theosophical Order of Service in Finland. She was also an editor of Theosophy magazine. She was the elected General Secretary of the Finnish section from 2007 to 2015. She has always worked as board member for 9 years of the ITC Netherlands, treasurer of European Federation for 16 years. She is also international speaker. Although Maria regards herself as a student of life, let me quote her words. She says there is a wonder in everything. We just need to open our eyes and see it within as well as without. With these words of an introduction, now I call Maria to give her blessings and opening of it. Maria.
Thank you, Professor Schinde, for your kind introduction. Good morning, distinguished theosophists and visionaries, esteemed speakers, and fellow seekers of wisdom. It is with great pleasure to welcome you from my part and open this Theosophical conference, which is number 100. As we heard, it's a special number, 10 by 10. I have noticed that the name has returned to be called South Indian Theosophical Conference. For a while it was called Easter Conference. And I think it was because this conference always takes place in Easter days. And it is not only for South Indian region, but the whole India. But no problem. Both will do as far as we join together at Adyar. The main purpose for me is to address the conference on the path to perfection. As we stand at the threshold of this enlightening journey, let us prepare to delve into the profound depths of knowledge and understanding and embark on a journey of discovery and enlightenment. The journey itself is enlightening. Our pursuit is not just an aspiration, but continuous voyage that shapes our purpose and passion. Aspiration is to make the human journey. Human journey is continuous through our many lives. When we go on our lives, it shapes our purpose in life, which is connected to our individual dharma. Our purpose is to make our dharma fulfilled. And when we fulfill our personal dharma, we same time are connected to the dharma of families, nations, countries, worlds. We are all on our way to perfection, but must learn many things. One is to enter the path. What is the path and how to tread it is something to ponder on. Krishnamurti talks of pathless land. It is a dimension that is close to perfection itself. We are treading the path, but entering the pathless land, the perfection. It is important for us to note that we are not talking about something out there, but something that is possible at present always. This conference is a celebration of the human spirit's quest for perfection and also for truth. It is a platform where we will explore the teachings of Theosophy, drawing inspiration from the works such as At the Feet of the Master, The Voice of the Silence, the list we have in the program. We will reflect on wisdom of Blavatsky, Mabel Collins, C.W. Leadbeater, and J. Krishnamurti as we navigate the intricate pathways of spiritual growth and ethical living. Together we will embark on a quest to uncover the essence of perfection that resides within each of us. The essence of perfection is in each one of us. That is our path, our dharma to be fulfilled. In this conference, through engaging discussions and shared experiences and talks, we will seek to understand how we can apply these timeless principles in our modern lives. As we commence this conference, let us open our mind to new perspectives, our hearts to deeper connections, and our souls to the boundless possibilities that await us on this path. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to a weekend of meaningful dialogue and transformative insights. Thank you for being a part of this quest for perfection. I kept the time very well, actually too short. And I take advantage of it by telling about this documentary shortly now, more in the tea break by Shikar. But as you know, next year, 2025, will be the 150 years of the Theosophical Society. And to celebrate that special year, the TIAS is preparing two documentaries. One is a documentary which includes interviews and insights of Theosophy from its beginning until today, with the aspect to make known how Theosophy has impacted throughout these decades people and nations. And the other, which we are going to be involved, is a musical documentary. The filming has been going on here already about 2 weeks, with the actors, musicians, dancers, and dialogues prepared by Professor Srinivas Krishnan. The musical will start from New York, through Europe, Middle East, to India. The most part is the time in India, how Theosophy impacted in India through remarkable people. So the musical will go through HPB, Olcott, our presidents, Adyar Besant, and Arun Dev. It ends to 1945, so 1875 to 1945. Otherwise, it would be too long musical. Because it is musical, it has a lot of music and dialogues. So it will introduce also Gandhiji, Tagore, Maria Montessori, Rukmini Devi, of course, Krishnamurti, and Damodar Mavalankar. So that people who will see it, will be better known, familiar with these special characters who really had an impact in the world and in India. So what the making the musical needs some shoots with crowd, like Adyar Besant talked with a huge audience, and that is why we need your presence. You will not be very recognizable because the crowd will be filmed from back. So, but the speaker will be there, Adyar Besant and something. Well, I don't know very many details about that yet, but we will learn it. So, thank you for being part of this, and if you agree that you are somehow seen in the film, you already have asked to sign the permission for that. So anyway, so thank you all, and this conference is now opened by this. Thank you.
Speak closer to the mic.
Thank you, Maria, for your nice words of encouraging us to keep our spirit of celebrating many events to come in future. Thank you very much. Now I invite N.C. Krishna. Let me tell about him first, who joined the Theosophical Society in 1966 as member of the Vasanta Youth Lodge, Adyar. So last 50 years, he is associated with the Theosophical Society as his maternal grandfather, Yam Krishnamacharyalu, who was the Joint General Secretary when Srimati Radhaji was General Secretary of the Indian section, Varanasi. At present, N.C. Krishna is a most active member in Indian section, associated with many committees, including a very difficult committee, property committee. As national lecturer, he has well studied and lecturing and conducting study classes, seminars, and even oriental programs for youths and national lecturers. He is working for Hyderabad Theosophical Society Lodge, also Rayalaseema Theosophical Federation, and Indian section EC member. Now I request N.C. Krishna to speak on the theme of this conference, the path to perfection. Brother N.C. Krishna.
Dear brothers, good morning. And I wish to start thanking Brother Shindeji, who has introduced me, and he is the chairman of this session, and Sister Maria for presiding over this or inaugurating this 100th South Indian Conference. Personally speaking, striking a personal note to start with, I think I've attended more than 40 of these South Indian conferences, and I was lucky because I was part of the persons living at Adyar, and so I had the opportunity to attend and convene sometimes, like Mahapatrava is convening this time. The Indian section used to host two, one North Indian camp, which is called now study camp somehow, and that was to make all the people living in North India to attend conveniently, not that South Indians are not required to be there. And this South Indian conference for all the people living down in South, and also of course inviting anyone who is interested to attend the South Indian Conference. That's how two conferences in a year are sponsored by the Indian section of the Theosophical Society. And it always coincided with Easter as far as the South Indian conferences went. And so we also had that talk about resurrection of the spirit, and all those, I remember what Radhaji used to talk about, the resurrection part, talking on a Sunday. So this is how I remember the good old days which I have spent at Adyar, and I have been part of the South Indian conferences whenever I came, even from, say, Hyderabad or elsewhere. And I'm starting with at 9:30. Yes, I'll see that I'll also maintain time like others. The theme of this 100th South Indian Conference is Path to Perfection, Path to Perfection. And as Shikarji said, it is apt that we're discussing the various facets of the theme in this South Indian Conference. Jumping into the subject proper straight away, the first question which comes to my mind, what is that path we're talking about? Path normally means the one which shows a direction for us to move forward. It is appearing before our eyes, it's a physical thing which we talk about. So we are not talking about this external path or the path which is appearing before our eyes, as I have said, but we are talking about something else. Vedanta talks about the existence of two paths, the Pravritti Marga and the Nivritti Marga, the outgoing path and the inward going path. So these are the two paths which the Vedanta talks about, and Annie Besant has quoted this in a number of her writings. When we think deeply, path doesn't necessarily mean the one which goes or leads us outside of us. The path, in the real sense of the term, is the journey inward, which causes an inner change, a total inner change, or a revealing change. A path inward which reveals more about myself. That is the path which we are concerned with, or the path which we are talking about. The inward path, the path which will open up a person from inside. How does this happen? There must be one in the individual who wants to undertake the path or undertake the journey, a deep urge to change himself. That urge comes about over a period of time or after a series of lives, because number of lives I think we have lived thinking that this physical body is everything. So unless we realize what is the real me, so that urge which will put me in connection with the real me, and that will be the way in which the path proper, or path inward, or the Nivritti Marga will open up for oneself. Generally, I believe when there is a situation which a person is not comfortable with, he starts thinking, putting on his thinking cap, how did it go like this? I tried I put everything right there on the path, but then still I'm not getting the result. So when there is a divergence between what he wanted to achieve and what he expected to achieve and what he realizes, that is at the time when he thinks there must be something else working. So those times it opens up that there is something else beyond, and that is what takes him into that path of inward journey. When there is a change in direction from external to internal, where there is a change in direction from external to internal, and that change is radical and complete, the path becomes clearer. There is clarity. It becomes clearer. One then enters into that path and walks on the path and strives for perfection. The outgoing path is more to do with materiality. And the inward path is to do more with the spirit which is there in man. So it's called spiritual path. A lot of people say spiritual path. What is spiritual? You are working with your spirit, so it's spiritual. So the nature of person who is thinking more about, not about the body content or body consciousness, but then he moves towards the spirit, then that becomes the spiritual journey. Both matter and spirit are integral part of man. There is matter in us, there is also spirit in us. Getting connected to the spirit in us takes us to the spiritual realms, spiritual horizons. When man realizes the emptiness in chasing the fleeting and the temporary, somewhere during the journey he stops to inquire about the real purpose of life. Then he starts to observe, move within, he starts withdrawing into himself and tries to mold and rearrange his perspectives. There is a clear shift, and he feels the need for an inner radical permanent change. I'm using the word radical only to suggest a fundamental change, not the radical in which normally we listen to or read about in newspapers. Radical meaning a fundamental change. When he starts rearranging his perspectives and the inner core being or inner core self is working along with it, the pull and attraction of the material world is no longer attractive. The outer path reduces its influence on the man and he gives way to the inner journey. So the outer gives way to the inner. That's how the whole thing happens. So this metamorphosis has to happen in us to get us onto the path proper. This metamorphosis has to happen in us to get us onto the path proper, which is the spiritual path, as we have talked some time back, and is a path which will aid in perfection. And where is this path? This is another question which normal people ask. All these questions, we all know the answers, but I'm only trying to put these questions again and trying to answer, only to recapitulate and see that everybody also thinks in terms of these questions and answers. So where is the path? When we talked about what is the path, we have seen it is not an external path, it is not a path which is outside us, and the path which connects us to the lower quaternary is not the path we are talking about, and we are talking about a path which takes us away from personality. There are certain words which I am using which are Theosophical jargon, like the personality, which means the lower quaternary, and this is a conscious decision and resolve a man takes, so that the path which he wants to tread is an internal path which is within us. The path laid within by us is enabling us to explore the unexplored areas of our nature, of our spirit, and that paves way to get more closer to the original source from where we have emanated or where we have come from. Who lays the path? It is us, or it is me, who have to lay the path. The path laid by someone else, after due trial, we find it will not suit us and will not serve the purpose, because somebody else's path may not be our path. We lay the path all by ourselves and own the path and walk on the path. We own the path and walk on the path. So the voice of the silence of Madame Blavatsky says, one cannot travel on the path until one has become the path. He is the path. This is what she says. Of course, one could use a lot of quotations from the various reference books which I have got, but then this is something very, very profound. She says one has to become the path. So the path laid by us from moment to moment brings about a quantum change in us. Our consciousness becomes more clear, and when the path is ours, we can make course corrections during the walking in the path. Course corrections. Not always everything is perfect from the beginning to the end. Somewhere in between I may need to correct myself. So the course corrections are possible. And the travel on the path laid by us or by me, and that brings about a qualitative change to our life. The way to progress to perfection is very clear. Living from then on, one is in a state of unity with nature and enjoying the bliss of communion with the oversoul or universal soul. We have seen reaching to perfection doesn't happen in one's life in a flash. We have seen reaching to perfection doesn't happen in one's life in a flash, in a jiffy. It doesn't happen. The process of perfection sometimes stretches to a lengthy period, maybe stretching to many lives or incarnations. What are the prerequisites to enter the path? Light in the Path talks about various types of wants. One such want is to seek comfort even while trying to walk on the path. Light in the Path talks about various wants. One such want is to seek for comfort even after deciding, resolving to enter the path. If the conditions are comfortable, I would work. If it is not comfortable, I will not work. It is not like that. So we are not going to work that way. Once we decide to walk, even there are going to be tough times, we'll go face the tough situations. What is the requirement? What is the requirement an individual has to have is a commitment to enter the path and a conviction to walk the path to the end. He should walk the path to the end. That's the conviction he needs. If one is looking for comfort at this stage, when he is only thinking of entering the path, if he is still not very sure that he doesn't want comfort, he is all right. But if he thinks that comfort is required for him to continue on the path, he is not ready really to tread the path. To tread the path, one should give up personal conveniences and congenialities. HPP's example, while writing The Secret Doctrine, is there well before us. She was gravely sick, and when masters gave her an option that she could suspend and leave the body and or work to complete the work which will help humanity, she chose the second option, suffering, writing the book for the sake of humanity. So that's exactly what this path means, not looking for comforts, but looking for purpose in life. And the second block could be, second avarodha can be, if one is insincere. This insincerity will affect the person and the path he wants to tread. Wholeheartedly, if somebody is working and somebody is walking on the path, then he is sure to find the results. But half-hearted attempts will not serve the purpose. If one finds still the worldly life is very interesting and attractive, and if one is bound by worldly ties, one is not ready to tread the path. So, as it is said, one can't travel on two boats or ride two horses. This is an old adage which goes. If one is concerned selfishly about oneself, that is, if he is living with selfishness as part of him, and that will not help him to walk on the path. He has to move towards selflessness. That would perhaps put him on the path. That will give him strength to walk on the path. In fact, as someone was saying, people are looking from above to see whether there are people who are selfless. Selfish people are not required for them. Selfless people are required for them. So, they are always on the lookout for people who are selfless. And selflessness is required to walk on the path of perfection. And what does he do, the man who has attained perfection? He exhausts all his karmic liabilities, responsibilities, and there is no need for him to be born again as human. Only if he thinks yes, or he gets an instruction to be born again on the earth to help humanity, he comes down. That's how he decides to do what he wants to do. Man has acquired habits, indulged in selfish practices, which actually have served the needs of lower vehicles. These habits and practices have left a lot of traces in the consciousness of each of these lower vehicles. So, cleansing the vehicles, eliminating the weaknesses, wiping off all the traces is part of perfection. So, how to cleanse vehicles? There are a lot of books available. All this is information. If the information is taken in and made my own, and if I utilize it to cleanse, then it becomes a tool. If it is only information, it is there in the book. So, then now, shall we see what is perfection according to Madame Blavatsky? What did she say about it? Blavatsky states that each soul is destined to reach perfection. Some reach perfection as and when it comes, because they are in a laid back approach. They are having a laid back approach, so it comes when it comes, because they are not unduly worried about it when it is going to come. But there are few other individuals who resolve and move on the path of perfection quickly to help the humanity. Why are they in a hurry to achieve perfection? Is not to sit on a pedestal, but they are wanting to help the humanity in general. That's why they are in that race for perfection. They make things happen. They don't wait things to happen. They make things happen. There's the difference between the person, the first type of person, the second type of person. H.P. Blavatsky, when introducing the Secret Doctrine, the subject proper, the proem which she says, she talks about three fundamental propositions. The first one talks about unity and about the Parabrahman, who is omnipotent, omnipresent and omniscient. The second proposition talks about the periodicity of universe appearing and disappearing. So, that is periodicity. The third fundamental proposition is relevant to our theme. That proposition says, that third fundamental proposition says, each individualized soul is working to establish a relationship with the oversoul or the universal soul. This universal soul is the unknown root of everything that we see in this universe. So it is trying to establish a relationship, the individual soul with the universal soul. And HPP talks about an obligatory journey for each soul, an obligatory journey for each soul. Pilgrimage, she called it, which has to be undertaken by every soul. So we say that every individualized unit, as separated from the root, is a spark of the divine. It may also be said that it is an individualized soul, which is the spark of the universal soul or the oversoul. So this is how the pilgrimage is described, and pilgrimage is undertaken by the pilgrim. That means the Atma Buddhi Manas, which is there continuously being part of everything, every incarnation. The pilgrim, the individual soul, has to undertake an obligatory pilgrimage, as we just said. It is not an optional pilgrimage. Mind you, it is not an optional pilgrimage, it is a pilgrimage which everybody has to undertake. So the upper triad is the pilgrim. The pilgrim, while going on the pilgrimage, takes a series of incarnations. The pilgrimage consists of series of incarnations. This is as per the law of necessity and in accordance with the law of karma. So this soul travels seeking perfection. On reaching perfection, when that happens, to the individual soul, it establishes a clear relationship with the universal soul, and the journey is then considered to be over. This soul, which is immortal, eternal in nature, gets nearer to the ever eternal universal soul. That's the whole purpose of journey, and that signals perfection that has been achieved by a single individualized soul. Putting it in simpler terms, putting it in very simple terms, man is a bundle of desires and weaknesses. Overcoming all these weaknesses and desires, using discrimination, which is a faculty of the mind, soaring to the heights of purity, is reaching perfection. Man, who is bundle of desires and weaknesses, overcoming all these desires and weaknesses, using discrimination, which is the faculty of the mind, and soaring to the heights of purity, is reaching perfection. So we use this faculty of discrimination to eliminate what is unwanted. So this is how we work with the mind. That's the difference between other living specimens and us, including animals. We have a mind, other creatures don't have a mind. So we have the ability to discriminate. Other people, other species do not have the facility. And having achieved perfection, he wants to help the humanity. Nature also helps such people who wants to unfold his true potential to serve humanity. So normally people talk about struggling to achieve perfection. Struggling means disharmony and a disturbed state. There is lack of order in a struggle. But perfection is actually bringing about within himself and around him harmony, order, and equanimity through the process of purification. This process undertaken by each soul, working continuously, ceaselessly, day in and day out, is the journey which a soul has to undertake without any reservations. The culmination of the process takes one to perfection. Everyone born is capable of achieving an inward excellence, and we all can live a life which is more of giving than grabbing. We have to lead a life of more of giving than grabbing or seeking. The seeking has to go if one has to reach perfection. This paradigm shift will help one to reach perfection. It happens only by negating the lower self. So, but one negating lower self is a process by itself. It takes number of lives, because we have been living with this lower self thinking that is the real thing. Man who has all the capabilities is trapped in illusion sometimes, and what he sees, he believes then illusion to be true. So he runs after transient things, the pleasure which is coming in a fleeting manner, which is temporary in nature. He spends lives to come out of this running after the mirage. We find ourselves in a quagmire, unable to extricate ourselves. So man, if he has to come out of this muddle, has to work continuously with dauntless courage. In the Voice of the Silence, she talks about virya, the dauntless courage, perseverance, and get nearer to perfection. Man is waging a battle, man is waging a war with his lower self. He is struggling to put an end to these circumstances and reach the shore of peace and prosperity. The efforts he puts in to reach the end of this sordid predicament, is a journey he undertakes to reach perfection. So, this I thought is in general what is the theme of this conference, what is the path and what is perfection, how does one go about seeking perfection, how does he negate the lower personality and aim to live with the higher principle of his, and that higher principle of his which is always there, that has to establish the contact with the oversoul, the universal soul. And this process has been described well in the Secret Doctrine and various other books also. So we are thinking in terms of moving in that journey. We have enough information everywhere in all the books which we have. Information, if it remains as an information, is not going to be of any use to us. Information, when it becomes part of my understanding and wisdom, and then if I take it forward and put it in life, that would perhaps take me towards perfection. Thank you very much.